Winning the battle. I've come from a long line of fighters. My mom, her own mother, and my dad all fought for a cause, for family, or for their God-given rights. The fighter in my life that still inspires me right up into this very second is my father's mother, Guadalupe Licea, or Pita, to close family members. Up until her last second on this earth, she was feisty, caring, and incredibly compassionate. Pita grew up in the ranches somewhere near Cotija, Mexico, in the 1920s. Growing up, she experienced the Cristero Revolution, not really knowing what was happening around her. She was frightened and had to hide constantly, her family, her food, and all of her belongings, in fear that she might lose everything. Despite the despair and conflict around her in her early years, she discovered a love for music and singing. It was one of the only things that kept her going. Upon entering early adulthood, the revolution had long since been over. She married my grandfather Salvador in her early teens. Living in the farms near Cotija was tough for her, barely producing enough food to eat and trying to provide for her family. Poverty-stricken and heartbroken due to her brother's assassination, she was left reeling in stomach pains during pregnancy. She eventually recovered, but a hard shell was formed, only showing strength to strangers and love to close ones. Being the center of everyone's world, all of her family worked to please Mama. Trying to raise a family in the war-stricken land was growing to be a huge burden. Pita and Salvador wanted a new life, so they moved to California in 1973 with all of their 11 children in tow, 10 boys and 1 girl. With almost all of the children beginning to work in their early childhood, Pita and Salvador tried to make ends meet, working day and night to provide enough clothes to the older children to later pass on to the young ones. Through the struggles, singing and music were lifelines, bringing happiness to all of the family. Her beautiful voice soared, singing of good times and good food. Once stabilized in the new land, Pita's strength began to show constantly. It was common for men to constantly carry a gun on them in the country, but women like Pita, who carried a gun, were rare. Anyone who met her was either scared of her or loved her. She used this as an opportunity to protect, but one resonating moment of strength showed when one of her middle children, Sal Jr., was unintentionally poisoned by an admirer. The admirer, jealous of Sal's love interest, planned to poison her, but accidentally poisoned Sal. Stumbling home, he hallucinated and became extremely ill. When word came to Lupe the fighter, she grabbed her gun and threatened the admirer. "If Sal dies," she declared, "you will too." Resolutions in Pita's life didn't come often. She just fought on until there was another battle to fight. She was strong and taught others, including myself. She gave me the gift of the love for music and singing, and the appreciation of my Mexican heritage. She continued to fight all of her life, especially for my brother and I. Growing up in her care, we flourished in her magical garden of gifts. In part being literal, her green thumb created the juiciest and sweetest peaches. In late 2013, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. 2 weeks later, Lupe the fighter lost a battle for the very first time. My grandmother inspires me whenever I find myself holding on, fighting, and persisting with strength. She taught me that in fighting in life, winning is only half the prize. It's what you can share and give to those that you love. It's that you can teach someone else how not to win, but to fight.